A courtesy title is a form of address in systems of nobility used for children, former wives and other close relatives of a peer, and by certain officials such as some judges. These styles are used by courtesy in the sense that the relatives or officials do not themselves hold substantive titles. There are several different kinds of courtesy titles in the British peerage. Children of peers. Courtesy peers. If a peer of one of the top 3 ranks has more than one title, his eldest son, not himself an actual peer, may use one of his father's lesser titles by courtesy. However, the father continues to be the substantive holder of the peerage title, and the son using the peerage by courtesy legally remains a commoner unless issued a writ of acceleration. If the eldest son of a duke or marquess has an eldest son, he may use a still lower title if one exists. For example, the Duke of Norfolk is also Earl of Arundel and Baron Maltravers. His eldest son is therefore styled Earl of Arundel. Lord Arundel's eldest son would be styled Lord Maltravers. However, only the Duke of Norfolk is actually a peer. His son Lord Arundel and his hypothetical grandson Lord Maltravers remain commoners. Courtesy peerages are only used by the peer's eldest living son, and the eldest son's eldest living son, and so forth. Other descendants are not permitted to use the peer's subsidiary titles. Only the heir apparent may use the titles. An heir presumptive does not use a courtesy title. However, Scottish practice allows the style master, mistress of X to an heir presumptive as well as to an heir apparent. For example, the brother of the present Marquess of Tweeddale has the title Master of Tweeddale. The wives of courtesy peers are also entitled to courtesy titles, which are the female equivalents of the husband's courtesy titles. Thus, the wife of an Earl of Arundel would be styled Countess of Arundel. Holders of courtesy peerages do not, at the Court of St. James's, have the title preceded by the definite article, the, e.g., Earl of Arundel, rather than the Earl of Arundel. Choosing a courtesy peer's title. The actual courtesy title which is used is a matter of family tradition. For instance, the eldest son of the Duke of Buccleuch and Queensberry is styled Earl of Dalkeith, even though the Duke is also the Marquess of Dumfriesshire, a title which outranks the earldom. Similarly, the eldest son of the Marquess of Londonderry is styled Viscount Castlereagh, even though the Marquess is also the Earl Vane. Titles with the same name as a peer's main title are also not used as courtesy titles. For instance, the Duke of Westminster is also the Marquess of Westminster and the Earl Grosvenor. The Duke's eldest son is not styled Marquess of Westminster, and so is styled Earl Grosvenor instead. The title used does not have to be exactly equivalent to the actual peerage. The eldest son of the current Duke of Wellington is styled Marquess of Dirrow, although the actual peerage possessed by his father is Marquess Dirrow. If a peer of the rank of Earl or above does not have any subsidiary titles of a name different from his main title, his eldest son usually uses an invented courtesy title of Lord. For instance, the eldest son of the Earl of Devon is styled Lord Courtney, even though the Earl has no barony of that name. And similarly, the eldest son of the Earl of Guildford is styled Lord North. The eldest son of the Earl of Huntingdon, who has no subsidiary titles, is styled Viscount Hastings, to avoid confusion with the substantive peer the Lord Hastings. The Earl Castle Stuart's heir uses the style Viscount Stuart in order to avoid confusion with Lord Stuart, the eldest son of Viscount Castlereagh. Courtesy prefix of Lord. Another form of courtesy title is the honorific prefix of Lord before the name, and with the definite article, the, before the prefix. This non-peerage title is accorded to younger sons of dukes and marquesses. The courtesy title is added before the person's given name and surname, as in the example of the Lord Randolph Churchill. although conversational usage drops the surname on secondary reference. The title persists after the death of the holder's father, but is not inherited by any of his children. The wife of the holder is entitled to the feminine form of her husband's title, which takes the form of Lady, followed by her husband's given and surname, as in the example of the Lady Randolph Churchill. The holder is addressed as Lord Randolph and his wife as Lady Randolph. Courtesy prefix O of Lady. The honorific prefix O of Lady is used for the daughters of dukes, marquises and earls, with the definite article the before the prefix in the most formal circumstances. The courtesy title is added before the person's given name, as in the example the Lady Diana Spencer. The title persists after the death of the holder's father, but it is not inherited by her children. The husband of the holder does not bear any courtesy title in right of his wife. The holder is addressed and, on secondary reference, referred to as Lady Diana. Courtesy prefix O of the Honourable. The younger sons of earls, along with all sons and daughters of viscounts, barons and lords of Parliament, are accorded the courtesy style O of the Honourable before the name. This is usually abbreviated to the Hon. The title persists after the death of the holder's father, but it may not be inherited by the holder's children. It is used only in third-person reference, not in speaking to the person. Married daughters. The daughter of a duke, marquis, or earl who marries a commoner becomes Lady. The daughter of a viscount or baron who marries a commoner is styled the Honourable. Any woman who marries a peer uses the feminine version of his peerage title, even if her own precedence is higher than his, as in the case of a duke's daughter marrying a baron, because a peerage is a substantive title, the usage of which is preferred to any courtesy style, unless she marries into the royal family. If a woman marries the younger son of a duke or marquis, she becomes the Lady. Quote, if she marries the younger son of an earl, viscount or baron, she becomes the Hon. Mrs. In case of a divorce, she may keep the same style as during marriage, or she may choose to assume the style Mrs. Regardless of what she chooses, she loses all precedence acquired from marriage, and because of the former option, there can be multiple Lady John Smiths. Adopted children. Until 2004, adopted children of peers had no right to any courtesy title, pursuant to a royal warrant dated 30 April 2004. Adopted children are now automatically entitled to the same styles and courtesy titles as the siblings. However, unlike biological children, they cannot inherit peerages from an adopting parent. For example, actress Nimmy March, the adopted daughter of the Duke and Duchesses of Richmond, was immediately elevated to Lady Naomi Gordon-Lennox upon the date. Note that Scottish peerages rules for courtesy titles and styles differ. Summary: indirect inheritance. Occasionally a peer succeeds to a peerage upon the death of a relative who is not one of his or her parents. When this happens, the relatives of the new peer may be allowed to use the courtesy titles of styles which would have been accorded them if the new peer had succeeded a parent or grandparent in the title. For instance, Rupert Ponsonby, 7th Baron de Morley, succeeded his uncle in 2002. His brother Ashley had no title. The father was only the younger son of a peer and was never actually Baron de Morley. However, in 2003, Ashley was granted, by warrant of precedence from Queen Elizabeth II, the style and precedence that would have been his had his father survived to inherit the barony, becoming the Honourable Ashley Ponsonby. Precedence in such circumstances is usually granted but is not automatic. Wives of peers. The wives of eldest sons of peers hold the titles on the same basis as the husbands, by courtesy. Thus the wife of the Marquis of Douro is known as the Marchioness of Douro. In contrast, the wife of a substantive peer is legally entitled to the privileges of peerage. She is said to have a life estate in her husband's dignity. Thus a duke's wife is titled a duchess, a marquis's wife a marchioness, an earl's wife a countess, a viscount's wife a viscountess, and a baron's wife a baroness. Despite being referred to as a peeress, she is not a peer in her own right. This is a style and not a substantive title. However, this is considered a legal title, unlike the social titles of a peer's children. It is also possible for a woman to be a substantive peer in her own right by succession or by first creation. Her children use courtesy titles according to her rank, as with the children of male peers, but her husband acquires no distinction in right of his wife. Thus, the husband of the Baroness Bottomley of Nettleston has no courtesy title. He was simply called Mr. Peter Bottomley until he was knighted and became Sir Peter Bottomley. Divorced wives. A peeress retains her legal right to the peerage style following divorce and even upon her remarriage to a non-peer. A convention has developed whereby her Christian name is added in front of her title to distinguish her from any subsequent wife of her former husband. Hence, Her Grace the Duchess of London becomes Mary, Duchess of London. In written forms, she is not entitled to the use of the address Her Grace, but may be addressed as Duchess. The article, the Lady London, becomes Mary, Lady London, and may be addressed as Lady London, or My Lady. On the 21st of August 1996, letters patent changed titles of divorced wives of British princes, depriving the former wives of the style of Royal Highness. For this reason Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales after divorce became Diana, Princess of Wales. The same happened to Her Royal Highness the Duchess of York, who became Sarah, Duchess of York. Widows. If a prince peer dies, his wife's style does not change unless the new peer is a married man. Traditionally the widowed peeress puts dowager in her style, i.e., the most hon. The Marchioness of London becomes the most hon. The Dowager Marchioness of London. If a widowed peeress's son predeceases her, her daughter-in-law does not use the title of dowager, but is styled e.g., the most hon. Mary, Marchioness of London, until her mother-in-law dies, at which point she may use the title of Dowager Marchioness. In more recent times, some widows choose to be styled with the Christian names, instead of as Dowager, e.g., Olive, Lady Baden-Powell. Divorced wives and widows who remarry. It used to be customary for women with higher titles from one marriage to retain them even on subsequent remarriage. As Lord Macnaghten put it in the case of Earl Cowley v Countess Cowley AC 450, everybody knows that it is a very common practice for peeresses after marrying commoners to retain the title lost by such marriage. It is not a matter of right. It is merely a matter of courtesy, and allowed by the usages of society. The divorce court, in the above case, granted the Earl an injunction preventing his former wife from using his title. However, this was overturned by the Court of Appeal, whose decision was confirmed by the House of Lords, on the grounds that ordinary courts of law lacked any jurisdiction in matters of honor. The same practice was followed by widows who remarried. A prominent example was Catherine Parr, the last wife of Henry VIII, who continued to be known as Queen Catherine even after her marriage to the Lord Seymour of Sudeley. This usage died out later in the 20th century, and women who remarry now ordinarily take a new married name and do not retain the former title. Children of gentry. Courtesy suffix of younger. A form of courtesy title granted is the suffix of younger at the end of the name. This title is granted to the heir apparent of a laird and is placed at the end of his or her name. The wife of a younger may herself place the title at the end of her name. The holder is addressed as the younger. Courtesy prefix of maid. The courtesy prefix of maid is granted to the eldest daughter of a laird. If the eldest daughter is also the heir presumptive, she may either hold the title younger or the title maid. The title is customary and not automatically given. The title is placed at the end of the name. The holder is addressed as the maid of lairdship. Civil partners. If a peer in right enters into a civil partnership, his or her partner is not entitled to a courtesy title. In 2013, there was a private member's bill in the House of Lords to allow the spouse of a woman who holds an honor, if he or she enters civil partnership or marriage, to assume the title the Honorable. This bill stalled, and was not passed by the end of the Parliament. Precedence status of courtesy titles. The courtesy titles and styles of children of peers are social, not legal. For this reason, in official documents, the Lord John Smith is often referred to as John Smith, Esq., commonly called Lord John Smith, the Hon. Mrs. Smith would be called Mary Jane, Mrs. Smith, commonly called the Hon. Mary Jane Smith. Only peers in attendance at Parliament enjoy statutory precedence. There is, however, official precedence accorded at the Court of St. James's that results from being the wife or child of a peer, and to which social styles are attached. The wives of peers, however, are peeresses and legally enjoy their titles in exactly the same manner as peeresses in their own right. Children of peers can outrank certain actual peers. For instance, the daughter of a duke outranks a countess. However, if the daughter of a duke marries an earl, she drops to the rank of countess, because her courtesy title is subsumed in his substantive title. But, if that same daughter marries a commoner, she retains her rank. If that daughter marries the eldest son of an earl, though he may be a courtesy peer, she may keep her rank until the son inherits the earldom, when she must drop to the rank of countess. Judicial courtesy titles. Following the creation of the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom, the first justices of that court held life peerages, and continue to hold them. However, the government has announced that future appointees will not be created peers, and the first non-peer appointed to the court was Sir John Dyson. In order to avoid any distinction between the justices of the court, by royal warrant all justices of the Supreme Court not holding a peerage are styled as if they were life peers, and retain the style for life. Thus, Sir John Dyson is now styled as Lord Dyson. Wives of male justices not holding a peerage are styled as if they were wives of peers. In Scotland, senators of the College of Justice use the title Lord or Lady along with a surname or a territorial name. All senators of the college have the honorific, the Honourable, before the titles, while those who are also privy councillors or peers have the honorific, the Right Honourable. Senators are made privy councillors upon promotion to the inner house. For example, Alistair Campbell is known as the Honourable Lord Brackedale, whilst Ronald Mackay is known as the Right Honourable Lord Easy. Some senators also hold peerage titles, such as the Lady Clerk of Calton, and these would be used in place of judicial titles.